Here are a few crazy posts from r/legal advice. My almost 3-month-old daughter has been subpoenaed to testify in a criminal case. Last Thursday, a process server came to our house and served a subpoena for a criminal case on my daughter, who was born on the 15th of April, 2015. I called the number on it to explain how it must be a mistake because my daughter is not even 3 months old yet, but I was told there was no mistake and my daughter is required to appear as a witness to testify on the date shown on the subpoena. I went in person with my daughter to the DA's office and was told the same thing. My husband and I thought this might be a case of identity theft. She doesn't have a social security number yet because she was born at 29 weeks. Spent 11 weeks in the NICU and has only been home from the hospital for 7 days, so we haven't gotten around to it yet. We checked anyway just in case and one has not been created for her or issued to her. Nothing with her credit either. We called the police about it possibly being identity theft and they are looking into it, but so far there is nothing, and they also told us the subpoena is legitimate. So we are very confused. My daughter has a rare and uncommon first, middle and last name, so it is very doubtful that there's someone else with her exact name. When I called the number on the subpoena and went to the DA's office, I was told both times that if she doesn't show up for court, a warrant will be issued for her arrest. Would the police actually arrest her baby for not showing up in court? Or would my husband and I as her parents be arrested instead? Does anyone have an explanation for what is happening here or any advice as to what we can do to solve this? I swear I'm not trolling. I wouldn't believe this myself, except it is actually happening to us. We are in California. This happened about a year after my father died. He was subpoenaed to testify in court regarding an auto accident he was in. I explained to them that he died and showed the death certificate. They told me that he had to show up, otherwise he'd be arrested. So for my amusement, I went in on the court date with his death certificate and his ashes. Explained to them that my father is indeed present but is unable to answer any questions at this time. What did the judge say? He let me go. My father wasn't the defendant in the case but a witness. A dump truck full of sand tipped over and dumped sand everywhere, including in my father's convertible. It was a bad day for him to have the top down. So, due to that, the driver got off of the charges. His lucky day. A dump truck full of sand tipped over and dumped sand everywhere, including in my father's convertible. Was your father Biff from Back to the Future? Oh, to be there the day you show up in court with your newborn baby, subpoena in hand. To tell the judge exactly why you're there, that you told that the baby had been subpoenaed and that threatened to have your infant arrested if you did not bring her to court to testify. That judge, man, he's going to have a good day. I'd love to see what the process server's affidavit says. Subject was a Caucasian female, approximately 8 pounds. Left subpoena in subject's layette. Subject appeared to drool or possibly coo in recognition of receipt. OP. You're going to look rather foolish when you learn your daughter's running a drug smuggling ring out of her crib. Your Honor, our initial investigation found respondent in charge of a large ring. What kind of ring? Large, plastic, bright green, with comically large plastic keys attached. The subpoena should list the court, division and judge's name. Call the judge's office and ask to speak to the clerk. Clerks are pretty adept at solving problems. Explain the mistake briefly, and also explain your fruitless attempt to clear up the matter with the DA's office. Explain that, due to your daughter's vulnerable health, you'd prefer not to have to appear at the courthouse with the baby to sort the matter out in person, and offer to fax the judge a copy of her birth certificate. I think there's a better than even chance this will get you sorted out. Good luck, and congratulations on your baby. While I, for selfish reasons, would prefer that you show up and regale us with stories of what exactly the judge did to the DA for making you go through this. Yes, call the clerk. They should fix it. This may be one of the few legitimate cases where someone crapped their pants after receiving a subpoena to appear. Can you legally steal your own property hours after a police officer hands it to the thief? Yesterday my phone was stolen at lunch and I chased down the girl who stole it, making a scene in the mall. A Plano police officer overheard the commotion and came over. The girl tried to say I was trying to steal her phone. I told the officer that I could unlock the phone and the girl could not. I told him my pictures are on the phone, my bank information was on the phone, and basically my entire life was there to prove it was mine. He refused to give me the chance or believe me. He told me to back off and leave her alone or he would arrest me. I left. The girl was wearing a uniform at one of the shops in the mall, so I decided to check back 2 hours later. I saw her set my phone down by the cash register of her work after failing again to break into my phone. When no one was in her store and her back was turned, I took my phone back. before anyone starts going off on me for it. I know exactly what I did was extremely stupid, but I am still paying for that phone, so yeah, I am asking for the legalities of it. The phone was set on a counter and not in an area that would be considered employee only. The store was open, and the phone is legally mine. The place is obviously heavily video monitored, so there is no doubt that I am on video. My questions are simply, did I break any laws? If the phone was on the counter, not behind the register but on the counter, the store was open and I was not asked to leave, and the phone is legally my property, did I break the law? Edit. Thanks for all of the info. I do not wish to pursue a police complaint, nor do I wish to report a crime. I am too lazy for that. Edit 2. I'm a dude. She would have to report you to the police for theft, but for the police to charge you or make you forfeit the phone, she would need proof she owns it. More importantly, you should have gotten the badge number of that officer, as well as made a police report about her so this is documented. I would try to make a report anyway. They can figure out who was at the mall at that time. Technically you can't steal your own property by virtue of not being theft. Neighbor is shitbombing my front yard. Update. I'll be sure to post updates, so please stop PMing me or replying to my comments post history outside of this sub asking me to do so or suggesting I shitbomb them back. My wife noted that what we think might be his kid comes around most weekends. In the interest of remaining neighborly and with the possibility neighbor dude might be losing his mind, we're going to talk with them before lawyering up or involving the fuzz. Updates forthcoming. Original post. Hey all, I have a shitty situation here that I'm hoping to get some advice about. This is in Idaho. My neighbor is shitbombing my front yard. A new neighbor bought a house across the street about 6 months ago. A few weeks back, I was working in the garage when I saw him take his dog directly across the street into my front yard. He let it pee in my yard and then walked straight home. He didn't notice me. My garage is set up as a shop and is pretty busy, and the garage door is up a lot, but this piqued my interest because it's goddamned weird. Now, my wife and I have a dog, so there are a few dog droppings from her that we pick up on a regular basis. My wife had been doing the dirty duty recently, so I asked her if there are more piles than normal. Sure enough, she said there had been a ton for a while now. She figured it was a-holes walking their dogs and letting them crap in our lawn. I figured it was our new weirdo neighbor. It happened again around a week later. I was in the garage as the neighbor took his dog into our lawn. This time the dog dropped a deuce and he started to walk away without picking it up. I called out to him, asking him if he needs a plastic bag to pick up after his dog, and he avoided eye contact and scurried back home. I went across the street and knocked on his door. He didn't answer. We set up a security camera to discreetly watch the front lawn, and I kept an eye out for when he was next out in his yard so I could talk to him. I reviewed the footage over the next few days and, sure enough, he was consistently taking his dog to do the deed in our yard. Why our yard? No clue. We've never had any interaction with this guy whatsoever. The next time I saw him walking to his car, I confronted him. I simply told him that I knew he was taking his dog to shit in our yard, and if I caught him doing it again I'd call the police to report him for trespassing. He denied doing it, claiming it must be other neighbors. Got in his car and drove away with me standing in his driveway. So I review the footage from the last few days. Dude is not walking his dog into my yard anymore. He's letting the dog shit in his yard. He then scoops it up, walks it across the street, and tosses it into my yard with a shovel. What the absolute duck? How do I even begin handling this?